Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So something dark, I believe, is coming. Yesterday I spoke about this. Now, it's been reported that there are now Chinese scientists going missing that is paralleling the United States scientists that are also going missing. So I'm going to be talking about that. And then I'm going to jump onto my dark theory. And it is dark, guys. It's really dark. So I've got some videos to share with you guys as well, because this topic just keeps getting wilder. It does. This whole topic now, I'm going to try and I'm going to use the first part of this live stream, and I'm going to stick with the facts, what we know. And then I'm going to jump over to what I think's coming in the future, or what we're going to be told at least. And when I talk about this, I'm literally connecting these dots. But before we get into that, I think we all need to understand that in 2025, when the Epstein files were released, they brought into everyone's consciousness this adrenochrome harvesting, right? And adrenochrome, it makes people younger or whatever fantastic. If it's real, I don't know, whatever. But they're the seeds, among other things. They are the seeds that releasing the Epstein files, that's the seeds that were planted, right? So now in the back of everybody's minds, we can, remember the setup and the payoff. Like if you're watching a movie, and I'm going to come on to a movie in a second, remember that setup and payoff. I spot these setups, right? And that's the setup that I'm seeing. And that's going to pay off maybe next year. So this is happening again. Now, not just in America, but in China too. In the last, I think like maybe 2 years or something, at least 9 of China's best scientists have died under mysterious circumstances. Young, talented, working on absolute cutting edge areas. We've got one of these scientists was Feng Yangge, 38 years old, a star professor at China's National University of Defense Technology. He built the War Skull, which was an AI system, the one that the People's Liberation Army used to simulate attacks. One night in War Games, I guess, one night in July 23, he died in a car crash in the middle of the night with no explanation. There was another guy, Zhao Gao Ganyang, I think his name is, a celebrated chemist, died at 51. No cause released. Now, I could go on. People have been died in car accidents, drone specialists, hypersonic researchers, biomedical chemists, all dying. Unexplained illnesses or no explanation at all. They age from 26 to 68, fields that matter most to national security, military power, AI, hypersonics, weapons, and space defense. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, because right now in the United States, the FBI and the White House are running a full investigation into 11 American scientists. I'm going to share with you guys a video shortly that says that number is a lot higher. And I've done my own research, and I think that number is a lot higher as well. So the United States are investigating 11 officially, but the unofficial number is a lot higher. 11 American scientists and researchers tied to NASA, nuclear programs, advanced propulsion, aerospace, some missing, some dead, Jet Propulsion Laboratory engineers, Los Alamos staff, a retired Air Force general who oversaw cutting-edge materials programs. One woman, Amy Eskridge, deep into anti-gravity and exotic propulsion. Car crashes in the dead of night in China, hikers vanishing in trails in California, bodies found in lakes, scientists shot on their own porches. 2 superpowers, parallel patterns, same scientific fields. Now, look, guys, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. and he's not called Dave. I'm going to address the elephant in the room. The question every person watching this has to be asking right now. Does this have something to do with the UFO alien disclosure? Does this have something to do with something that's coming round about 2029? Round about the 13th of April, to be specific. Because several of the American scientists that were on that list weren't just working on rockets or reactors. Some had documented ties to UAP programs, unidentified aerial phenomena, anti-gravity technology, materials that defy known physics. The kind of breakthroughs that, if real, would rewrite everything we think we know about energy travel, physics. And the more I start to get into this, and the further down, and I'm not going to go into there now, but there's a little chapter in the Book of Enoch. Have I told you I'm reading it, right? There's a book of chapter where Enoch is taken, and I think he's with the angel Uriel, and he's showing him these portals, and how he describes these portals. I think he's talking about teleportation, instant travel. That's what I think. Anyway, China's hypersonic and space defense experts, they're chasing the exact same technology that the United States are, that show up in UAP reports. What if a handful of these men and women on both sides of the Pacific got too close to something real? Something that governments on both sides desperately want to keep quiet. A technology that isn't ours, a truth that isn't ready for the public yet. Is this a coincidence or bad luck? Is this foreign espionage? Have maybe the American scientists been getting killed by the Chinese spies? So the Americans have sent spies over to, like, I don't know. I don't know, guys. It's too much to be coincidence, right? It's absolutely too much to be coincidence or bad luck. Or is there someone or something making sure witnesses and researchers, like the ones who might blow the lid on the biggest story in humanity, simply disappear? We don't have the answers yet, but I do think we have the breadcrumbs. And I think all of this very soon is going to be the biggest story. I think this is going to be the biggest story very soon, guys. There's too many setups. There is too many setups, guys. Too many setups. And I think you would be a fool to just discard this as coincidence. I really do, guys. I think anyone who tries to discard this now as coincidence, or like tries to mess about and say that these are not related, I really do think it's you would have to be a fool now. The amount of the sheer mass of this. So I've got a video to share with you guys, and this is in the same respect, talking about how this number potentially is a lot higher, and I do think the number is a lot higher.
What are we getting wrong about this? Why should we keep looking at it?
Well, look, anytime you have...
So the guy on the right, his name is Lou Elizondo, I think. He was one of the first... people to come out and talk about this subject, of unidentified aerial phenomena with a degree of legitimacy.
Experts in the national security arena either disappearing or in some cases dying.
This on its own, these 11, right? Missing. DOA. Then the Chinese ones, and I think we're only scratching the tip of the iceberg.
Prematurely and not necessarily a natural way. We have to look at this very closely. We can go back even to the 1940s during the Manhattan Project, when we knew Russia was trying to target a lot of our scientists and try to learn some of our atomic secrets. This is nothing new. What is new, though, is that we have these scientists, these engineers, and senior military officials that are completely unaccounted for. Some of these individuals had very high security clearances, top secret SCI security clearances. Anytime that would happen in any other country, Russia, China, obviously would be a problem. This is happening here in the United States. And there are some very interesting common ties that at least some of these individuals have with one another. And that is the UAP topic.
So my main question here, right, on all of this topic, whenever I'm thinking about UFOs, right, the only thing I can think about is, have you hit that like button? Have you hit that like button, guys? Can you do it? Can you hit that like button, please? I don't know if there's a hype button down there as well. I went onto the settings of this channel, right? Because this is all I think about, right? I don't know if there's a hype button down there. I think there is. I don't know if there is, but can you hit that as well, or do the like and the hype? It really helps me out, guys. Thank you.
Ironically enough.
So, and you say this isn't you referring to culture or history. You're saying you talked to some of these people, and what happened doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. In fact, several of the people that you have on your list right there that you showed, I personally spoke with years ago and talked to myself, and it was about the UAP topic and their work in that arena. But there's also, you said something, and it's absolutely accurate. There's other individuals that are not on that list that I am personally aware of that might actually be associated with it. They're
like all of this. Do I think little green men are on their way here? No. No, I don't. Do I think the data points are pointing towards that? Yeah, I think the data points are pointing towards that we're going to be told. I've not seen any direct evidence of this, but what I am seeing is these things being played out like in a movie. And I keep saying this. It's like when you watch these things and you start to take a look back, it feels like we're watching a movie. 2025, adrenochrome, guys. Remember that.
There's an individual that somebody Chris Mellon, who's been on your show before, was going to talk to about 2.5-3 years ago. He was a few days away from meeting this individual. He was an engineer, apparently on the legacy U.S. government's legacy UAP effort, and mysteriously died right before the meeting. There's another individual whom I spoke with. He reached out to me. I'm going to protect his identity here for the sake of his family, but he did meet an,
and I hope for the sake of him as well,
untimely end. He was a senior special agent at the Department of Energy, and he worked specifically in the Inspector General's shop.
Okay, so we all think, right? We all think that, like, you hide secrets. You all think that the military hide these secrets, right? Oh, this is a military secret. Oh, it's a military secret. I would say another place, well, and I guess that will be true. I would say another place to hide secrets is the Department of Energy, or your energy department, right? Especially when you talk about nuclear energy, right? Everybody has to be like secret cleared and super double stamp secret cleared. But it kind of doesn't get as much. Where are we hiding secret weapons technology? Oh, it's definitely the military. What is secret technology? What are weapons? Well, any weapon is a release of energy, right? Whether that's a 9mm round, whether that's a 5.45, whether that's a 5.56. A weapon essentially is a release of energy. If you've got a bayonet, that's a release of energy. So all weapons are energy release.
The IG shop. He was the most senior special agent for the Department of Energy, and he was talking to me about coming out and talking to Congress about what he knows within DOE and the files, the UAP files that they're holding on to. He was very upset, and he felt like he was a whistleblower. So I was arranging for this individual to actually meet with certain members of Congress. His wife, who is a doctor for the Veterans Affairs, walks in one evening after work and finds him dead on the sofa.
So that's another 3. Now, if you add in David Wilcock, if you add in all the people who were like I think it was 9 people who were associated with the movie the series Ancient Aliens. There's a lot more.
Now, this was during COVID, but from my understanding, there was never any positive, if you will, connection between COVID and his death. He was relatively young. He wasn't an old guy. He wasn't particularly sick. He was healthy. He was athletic. So there are more individuals, and certainly I think the FBI should do exactly what they said they're going to do. You have folks like Anna Polina Luna that are working very hard behind the scenes, also trying to, you just had her on your show, that's trying to get some additional clarity into this. There was another individual that Dave Bruce used to work with. His call sign was Quake, and he was going to go public and talk to Congress. And unfortunately, he was in Washington, D.C. at a
So that's now another 4
hotel, and they found him dead as well. So I want to be.
Can you guys remember, right, that guy who was found outside Trump's hotel in the Tesla? I've just thought of that now. Can you guys remember him? So there was a guy who was, and it was very suspicious. There was a guy found dead, I think some fight outside Trump's office. No, Trump's. I can't remember that. I'm thinking of this at the first time. If some of you guys can put it in the chat, there was a guy found dead outside. I think it was like a Trump office somewhere or a Trump hotel. I don't know. In a Tesla, and it had all burnt out. Now, one of the things he was talking about allegedly was, I'm sure he was talking about like anti-gravity or something like that. So is he another one?
Careful not to scare people, say this is all about UFOs and the conspiracy that they're trying to keep people like us quiet. But I can tell you, as a matter of fact, I myself and other individuals whom I know, and Congress can tell you the same, have actually been threatened before. So it is about time that the government takes this very, very seriously, whether they're just missing, or they want to take an extended vacation, or they're dead. We need answers, and we need them now.
We got to know. What do we?
So I think the main go-to here, I don't see how you can't make these connections. Now, I'm going to share with you guys another video in a second. Can you guys remember? Well, I'll show you the video now. Actually, let me share this other video. I'll put the video on, and then I'll stop it and I'll share it. Okay, can you guys remember this video? So now, right? So now, let's just say we don't know what the case is, right? Let's just say we don't know what the case is. But in this video, JD Vance talks about he doesn't think aliens are real. He does think he thinks it's real, but what he thinks it is demons, right? So let's just say that JD Vance is right now, and all these scientists are actually, they've been taken out by demons. It just gets wilder. And look, I know people struggle with this subject matter, right? That guy there on the right is the Vice President of the United States. He's got a lot of authority. He's got a lot of credibility. Just listen to what he says about this.
You're going to release all the UFO files?
We're working on it. It's funny. When I came in, I was obsessed with the UFO files. And then you start getting really busy worrying about the economy and national security and things like that. But
this is no longer a fringe topic. This is now mainstream. Why? Don't know. Why is this topic gone from conspiracy theorists to literally look how serious he's talking about this, guys. This is not a fringe topic anymore. This is real.
I've still got 3 more years as vice president. I will get to the bottom of the UFO files.
Okay. Have you peeked? Have you done a peek?
Have I what?
Have you done a peek? I mean, like,
So I actually haven't. I have
full
not.
Independence Day.
I have not been able to spend enough time on this to really understand it,
Yeah.
but I am going to. Trust me, I'm obsessed with this. I've already had a couple of times where I'm like, all right, we're going to Area 51. We're going out to New Mexico. We're going to sort of get to the bottom of this. And then the timing of the trip just didn't work out. But trust.
Is this a movie? Are we living in a movie, guys? Are we in a movie? Because this just seems like, it seems like I'm watching a movie right now. And the setups for the later payoff. Remember, 2025 adrenochrome.
Trust me, anybody who's curious about this, I'm more curious than anybody. And I've got 3 years of the very, very tippy top of the classification. I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Okay, so you haven't been to Area 51 yet?
Not yet.
Some
Not
people
yet.
say they keep the UFOs in Ohio. They might,
yeah, Hangar 18, Hangar 18, right?
I've
I've heard that as well, but I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet.
Okay, all right. Well, we're waiting for it. We saw aliens.gov.
You know me.
We saw aliens.gov.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway. But
boom, just drop that bombshell. I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons. So now you have to put that into the context, right? You have to put that into the, you have to throw that into the mix. And look, guys, whether you think this is, I'll be honest with you, I'm struggling with all this, right? He really said that. The vice president of the United States says that he doesn't think UFOs are aliens. He thinks they're demons. And I'm like, isn't that more terrifying? Surely that's more terrifying, right?
All right. Well, we're waiting for it. We saw aliens.gov.
You know me.
We saw aliens.gov.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a longer discussion.
Well, I can't let you go without a follow-up on that. Because Barack Obama is on this podcast and he goes, yeah, aliens are real, but like, here's where they're not.
And he just took that so like blasé. He just took that so blasé. Oh, right. Okay. Are they demons? Yeah, demons. All right. Okay. No worries. What are we having for tea tonight? Oh, should we ask the demons?
And,
I did not.
And so Obama says, yes, aliens he gets asked point blank, are aliens real? Oh, yeah. And then he goes, but they're not at Area 51. And
where are they?
Well, that's what he says. Right. That's a great question. Trump had to go save him, and he said he's going to declassify. Okay. So you think they're demons?
Well, look, I think that celestial beings.
Look at how serious they are, guys. All right. This is now, whether you believe him or not, he's projecting this as a serious topic.
Who fly around, who do weird things to people. I think that the desire to describe everything celestial, everything is otherworldly, to describe it as aliens. I mean, every great world religion, including Christianity, the one that I believe in, has understood that there are weird things out there. And there are things that are very difficult to explain. And I naturally go, when I hear about sort of extra natural phenomenon, that's where I go to, is the Christian understanding that, there's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there.
So we can flip this, right? And we can say that these books, the Christianity and all the rest of these books, you can flip that and you can say what they were describing as demons is actually UFOs or aliens. I don't know, right? So they're the two videos I've got to share with you. Now, I'm going to where is it? I've got it here. I'm going to give you a synopsis now of a movie called Jupiter Ascending. Now, this is a 2015 movie. And in that movie, the aliens are not like your classic little green men invaders from outer space. They're a highly advanced intergalactic species. They're an intergalactic elites. Essentially, immortal capitalist royals who treat entire planets, including Earth, as private business assets. Farms. Now, what this civilization do is they seed a planet and then they come back and harvest the planet. So what they do is, thousands of years ago, maybe 12,000 years ago, so this family, they genetically engineer and planted human life on Earth, waited till it had, waited until it had flourished, because remember, these aliens are immortal, I guess. Wait till a planet is ripe, and then they harvest. So once the planet's ripe, they harvest. Usually, billions of inhabitants. Now there's like this lead family, and what they do is they go to the planets and they harvest every single human being. The product that they get from that harvest is something called Regenex, which is the most valuable substance in the universe. And this Regenex is supposed to regenerate the people's life. So it takes 100 human lives to produce enough of this stuff that they're calling Regenex, which is absolutely not adrenochrome, right? And this gives, the immortals rejuvenating. It brings, it makes them young again, basically, which is absolutely not adrenochrome, right? So that's the premise of that movie. They drive, they cruise around, seeding planets and then harvesting the planets for this Regenex, I think it's called. Now, I'm just adding these. There's so many data points that I'm trying to add together here. 2025, right? Everything I'm seeing now is pointing towards this. 2025, the releasing of the Epstein files told us about this adrenaline. Whether you believe in this or not, I don't know. But we're told that, the rich and the powerful and the Madonnas and for entertainment purposes, right? All these people drink, or I don't know what you do with it. I don't even smoke it, or I don't know. They consume this thing called adrenochrome, right? And it allegedly keeps people, young. (2026). This alien disclosure thing now, it's becoming mainstream. It absolutely is. There's more information out every day. The scientists are going missing. So it does look like something in that sphere is happening. And I've spoke to my friends who are, well respected in military circles. And I just come out with it, guys. I do. I come out with it. I say, right, what's the deal with aliens? And everybody, well, not everybody, but most people in my military spheres, I've either convinced them or they didn't take much convincing that if we get told aliens are real this year, then next year we're going to be told they're coming. And the reason they're going to be coming is to harvest adrenochrome. We can already see it in these documentaries, right? And we just have to connect the dots. So Graham Hancock's documentary, the Ancient Apocalypse, great calamity 12,000 years ago. Now nobody knows what this calamity was. Nobody knows what the calamity was, but they call it the Younger Dryas. It could have been a lot of things. It could have also been a harvest. So think about it. If you want to go and harvest a planet, it makes no sense taking everyone, right? It makes no sense harvesting the whole planet. You want to leave some people behind, and then you want to come back in another 10,000, 12,000 years or whatever and harvest them again. It makes no sense to harvest everyone. Snape Endeavour has sent a super, and he's saying, "Have a coffee on me." Thank you so much, Snape Endeavour, for sending a coffee. I do appreciate it. H entrepreneur John Manthe is saying, it's not like the rich fellas or Epstein class look young, but look terrible as they age. Like if they're drinking blood or adrenochrome, it wasn't working real good. No, okay, so yes, I've thought about this, but it doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't matter. Whether it works or not, it doesn't matter because the perception is already out there, right? The conspiracy theory is out there. It was released in 2025, and they've told us that this stuff happens. Now, whether it does or not, it doesn't matter because we've been told that, right? So those breadcrumbs have been laid out. That setup is there. Michelle Marshall is saying, is this something that happens every so often? People who realize what's going on get moved to somewhere else, and the people who don't stay on another cycle. Doesn't something happen like that in religion? I'm pretty sure there's a religion that says that. I don't know. Applejack's Gaming is saying, I really feel like there are only a few real souls walking the earth left. The rest are some sort of soul-sucking demon or something. It's hard. It's hard when you look at headlines, especially in the United Kingdom and around the world. It's hard not to say that, it's hard not to say that, like, I don't want to go into it. I'm not going to go into it now, but I read a headline, an article from the United Kingdom, right? I'm going to say it. 2 gay men adopted a baby boy. Now those 2 men are in jail, and that little baby boy, I can't even say it, guys. I can't even say it, but when I read that, I just thought, if there is a God and he's looking on earth, there are some dark souls, and I wouldn't argue if he were, if there was a God out there and he says, listen, you guys have slipped too far down, I need to purge you. I would accept that. I absolutely would, guys. I would absolutely accept that. Now Trump's back and was spiked with it like Boris. He wants revenge, so the lefties are panicking, murdering away, covering their tracks, which leaves. I don't think. Are you talking about the medication that we all had to have? Right, listen, guys. I'm actually gonna close this down quick now, guys. I am. Hang on a minute. Is one of the scientists called Bob Lazar? I was just watching a documentary of his. No, Bob Lazar is not one of the people who've been who are no longer dead. I don't think he will be either. I'm struggling with Bob Lazar, guys. I'm struggling with Bob Lazar. I don't know if he's real. I don't know if he's real. I think he's credible. I do. I think he's credible, but I'm not 100%. I'm not 100%. But then again, I'm not 100% on anything. All the stuff that Bob Lazar allegedly researched was a long time ago. So I think the technology will have moved on a lot from there. I don't think that would have, I don't think that would have mattered. Right, listen, I am going to close this down. I am, guys. I'm absolutely going to close this down. I believe this is going to be the biggest story to break very soon. Very soon, this is going to be the biggest story, and it's going to be absolutely everywhere. I do think that, like, that's what we're going to be told at some point, that they are here and they are coming. Now, obviously, you guys are thinking that that's Project Bluebeam. It could be. It could also be something like the 3-body problem, where you want to send, you're coming to attack a planet and you don't want that planet to advance their technology sufficiently enough to be able to defeat you. So you start taking people out beforehand. And if you were doing that, right, if you were aliens preemptively striking Earth, taking out American, taking out Chinese, maybe even British, Indian, Russian, anybody with a sufficiently advanced space program, what you would also want to do is you would also want to start casting doubt, casting misinformation, and that's what Project Bluebeam could be. Anyway, right, I am going to close you guys down. I may be back on shortly talking about the Falklands, although I've got to go and buy some bitumen paint, so I don't know what time is it? I've not my watch in the house. What time are we on? I'm going to go and buy some bitumen paint. I'm then going to come back. I'll talk about the Falklands. I'm then going to do my painting, and then I may do another live stream. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, just keep an eye on this because this topic is going to grow. I'll catch you guys later.